think
Yes.
it's great. A lot of parents face this. Once kids learn to like the salty, greasy stuff, and even
Yes.
adults, it's
Yes.
tough to go to veg. I rather have French fries than a bowl of broccoli.
You're watching the Spotlight Network, starring Hollywood's
And if
newsman,
you were just trying to
Logan
get your
Crawford.
investigators, they now believe a single member.
He works with TV and film legends. And now, Logan's shining the spotlight on the world's top emerging authors and creators.
International, we're abducted.
This is Spotlight with Logan Crawford, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're diving into a wonderful children's book. It is called Jaxon Discovers Dimension Z. It is a magical children's adventure filled with imagination, mystery, friendship, and discovery. It's written by a terrific author. Her name is Marva Washington, and in the book she blends heartwarming family storytelling with sci-fi wonder as young Jaxon stumbles into a world far bigger than he ever expected. This imaginative kids' book brings together curiosity, kindness, and adventure in a story that encourages young readers to explore new worlds and new possibilities. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Mainspring Books for helping us put her on TV today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. Marva, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Talk to us a little bit about the Jaxon character. How did he come to life?
All right. Jaxon is a real person. He is actually my great-nephew. And I met him when he was a baby. And a couple of years later, he came back into my life, so to speak. He's very, very, very imaginative. He was about 4 at the time, going on 5. And the thing that I liked about him more is because of his energy. Also his intelligence, but his eating habits were very questionable. Yeah. His dad, who has major responsibilities for him, said that he liked white rice and primarily, I guess, nuggets and fries.
Wow.
And when I spent a couple of days with them when they were in California, and he was right. We went to a Chinese restaurant, I recall, and that's all Jaxon wanted, just the white rice. And then a couple of hours later, it was the fries and the nuggets. So what I did, I thought about it. I said, yeah, I would like to kind of get to know him a little bit better and also introduce him to vegetables. And so I thought his birthday was coming up. And so I decided that maybe if I wrote a short story, that was the whole idea, writing a short story about vegetables. And I noticed that a lot of kids don't really know what vegetables are. We talk about vegetables, but they really don't know what vegetables are. And, most people think that, just potatoes, maybe vegetables, and that's about it. So I decided to write a short story. And as I started writing the story, for some reason or another, it started getting longer and a little bit longer. And before I knew it, I was writing more of a children's book length story. And I decided that, okay, I would do that. And that's how come Jaxon came about. Now, talking about Dimension Z, it's if you've ever seen the old cartoons and network information, especially cartoons in newspapers, you notice that when the cartoonist talks about sleeping and being in dreams, he uses that little Z figure. Right, yeah. That and that means that they're dreaming or that they're sleeping. So what I came up with was making this Dimension Z is actually a dream world. It's a sleep world. So when I wrote the story using the Dimension Z, then I said, well, there has to be somebody that actually tell Jaxon what a vegetable is and start explaining what vegetables are and how they could affect children, how they there are so many ways in which, there's so many things that they should know a little bit more about vegetables.
Mhm.
So that's how the whole concept began. So at Jaxon and the little character's name is Zolo are basically the only two characters in the book, but there's so many things that they play off each other and finally become friends. So you see that growing as the book continues. But to answer your question, Jaxon
Is a real
getting
little
back to it.
boy.
He's
Yeah.
a real little boy. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
amazing, amazing. Well, I think
yes,
it's great. A lot of parents face this. Once kids learn to like the salty, greasy stuff, and even
yes,
adults, it's
yes.
tough to go to veg. I rather have French fries than a bowl of broccoli. But I would, but I know the bowl of broccoli is better for me, so I'll eat the broccoli and not order the French fries. But
French fries, right?
that's
Yes,
easier to do when you're an adult than a child. So this
yes,
book
yes,
is important because it's making learning about vegetables fun by
yes. I hope so.
having the sci-fi elements to it as well. Tell us about the mysterious little creature that Jaxon discovers along the way.
Okay. That was kind of strange. I'm a walker, so I was walking one morning, and I think about a lot of the stuff when I'm walking. And
Mhm.
I was passing by a fence and it had some graffiti on it, and all it said was Zolo. And I
Mhm.
said, that would be an interesting name for a character.
Yeah.
And let's see, how would Zolo fit in? And then, of course, with the Z and everything else to make that his it's the crux of the benefit of the book, because it is Z and everything is that comes with Zolo is related to, it has a Z in it in some ways, his
Hmm.
name, and he's from Zealand, and they're called vegetarians. So it's just a play, of course, on vegetarians.
Yeah.
But I said that would be a good idea. I think that, that let him tell Jaxon a little bit more, but he kind of has a little bit of an attitude. He's a little bit how would you describe him? Because he doesn't really necessarily think that Jackson's, or any of the children that they're caring for are smart, but
Mm.
Zolo has the responsibility of that all the vegetarians have of looking out for these children. Getting back to the beginning of the book, because there's one thing I wanted to mention. Yes, um, dreaming has a lot to do with it too, because of
Mhm.
course Zealand is a dreamland, and so I start off the book asking, when do children begin to dream? What do they dream about? Do they remember their dreams? And so once Jaxon meets Zolo, he begins to remember a little bit more of his dreams.
Mm.
And of course, he has to be asleep in order to enter the dream world.
Mm.
And so Zolo has to guide him into that as well, too. But what's your question again? Oh, the how the characters came about.
All right.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like I said, I saw this name on. It's really strange. I saw this name on a wall, and it said Zolo, and that's it just seemed to be a really good name for a character.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
intriguing.
so
Like you
that's
said, it fell within that Z theme as
yeah, it
well,
did,
which
it
worked.
did,
Yeah.
yeah, it did.
What are the takeaway messages for children who either read this book or have this book read to them?
First of all, they have. I want them to know that their dreams can come true.
Hmm.
Um, there are so many kids that, because there's another character, the boy, who's not named and not named on purpose, because they're anonymous people, they're anonymous kids that these vegetarians watch out for. And but Zolo, of course, Jaxon had to help Zolo get to that point to realize that, he had a responsibility also. But there's so many children that I think have little dreams. Many of them might be prodigies. That's one of the things I thought about too, because this boy was a prodigy. Um, they need to get the type of nourishment and the type of vegetables and the type of what the vegetables give to them, and the vitamins and the minerals and the that they need in order to grow properly and to develop. And so that's the connection. They need to develop their brains, and also, I know there are milestones as far as teaching kids, teaching children when to, or parents need to watch, when they develop certain traits or develop certain ideas, and to try to guide them. And in order, a part of this guidance is also being able to eat the type of fruits and vegetables in this case that will help them to grow properly. I noticed there are not as many prodigies as we've had in the past, but this little child could probably be one because he was interested in music. And so the parents were not pushing him in that direction because the father wanted him to do something else. But they have to have the type of nourishment that the vegetables will provide, I think, and also the push that the vegetables will give them. Parents need to have this information. And if they have a specific dream, the parents could also say that, show them that they need to eat the type of vegetables that will give them the type of nourishment in order to fulfill the type of dreams that they're looking at.
Yeah.
So that's the connection between the characters and also eating nourishing foods.
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of parents will also ask their kids, well, what do you want for dinner? And they really don't know what they want
Exactly.
for dinner. They just know what tastes good and what they're used to having. And talking with a lot of other parents and grandparents who've expressed an interest in the book, they mentioned all of them have one of those quirky eaters. And they said, oh, yes, I want to read the book because I've got this really quirky eater in my family. All they want to do is eat corn. All they want to do is eat, this one vegetable, one thing that they wanted to eat.
Right.
One person said, what? Yeah, they ask for spaghetti every day. And I'm asking myself, well, why are you asking them what they want to eat?
Exactly.
The answer is going to be.
Right. That's why we're the grown-ups. We have the answers, hopefully, sometimes.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Have you envisioned Jaxon Discovers Dimension Z as a video or a TV show for kids?
I haven't had that type of vision yet. It's only one book.
Yeah.
I know that they've made many series out of it. Yeah. And I don't know if there will be any follow-ups. I haven't thought that far ahead. Yeah. In fact, I didn't even know whether this one would have gotten out of the gate at all. I wrote it and it just kind of sat there, and I didn't have any real plans for it because, as I said, it started out as a short story for Jaxon. He got a prototype of the book before it became a commercial copy that was made. So he has a slightly different copy. And the copy that he has photos, actual photos of him in the book.
Cool.
And that's, so of course we didn't want that type of thing going out because, we wanted to protect his identity.
Yeah, privacy concerns.
Yeah, privacy concerns. Yeah. Of course, he probably would have loved it, but
well, he's got his own little prototype there with his pictures in it. That's just
right. Yes, even on the cover,
wonderful.
His pictures on the cover. Yes.
Awesome. Before we leave you today, tell us a little bit about your writing career.
A career, I call it sort of an avocation, something that I wanted to do, something that I've always enjoyed writing. Always been a sort of a creative writer, which is why I didn't really stick to one genre, adult writing versus children's writing. Whatever comes to mind, and if it clicks and if it works, I write it. That's it. I've got notes all over the place. I have little scribblings here, that of things that might make a good idea, and I've never developed it. But I did, manage to complete another book beforehand as an adult book. I don't want to call it a doubt book, but because I don't like to characterize. I don't want to be put into a box, so to speak. But I think that it appeals more to adults than it would to children. But the children's book seems to be came about as I mentioned before, because of Jaxon. As far as career is concerned, I have done a number of things creatively speaking, even when I was in school, and the teachers always kind of noticed that I had kind of a flair for writing. I remember junior high school and elementary school, they always, whenever we had a composition to turn in, I was probably the only kid in the class who said, "Oh, great, 500 words. Let me start." And I would, I wanted to write that, and
Right.
I write it from a different viewpoint, and they always enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed reading it, and normally I was the one kid in the class that they would pick and read the composition out loud. So I
Awesome.
had, yeah, that's so that kind of, but it's been over the years, and I've never really developed it as such. But these two books I've enjoyed writing. I'm really proud of them, and I think that they have a lot of potential. So I hope that they'll go very far.
I hope so too. This book we've been focusing on today is wonderful, folks. It is called Jaxon Discovers Dimension Z. It follows a curious young boy whose visit to his grandmother's garden leads to an astonishing secret hidden inside a tool shed. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Marva.
Well, thank you for having me. I
Oh, it's
enjoyed
my
it.
pleasure. Great having you on the show. Great talking to you. I appreciate your time, your insight, and the wonderful work you've done on this book. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time.